This conference will now be recorded.
I'm not saying it's not a big deal, but apparently somebody's got a car there that's been there for God knows how long. That must not be too important to them, right? So, I mean, we're gonna do everything we can to follow the law. But like some of those vehicles that there's just no information on, we're just gonna junk them. Like I said, I'll notify him when you get back here to these other vehicles, you have to let somebody know. I'll say either let me know, let the sheriff know, let supervisors know, let somebody know. No, I think somebody's always goes out there and checks once in a while anyway to see where he's at or to see how he's coming, right? So I haven't been by there for a while. I'll probably drive by there. It's not important for my job or anything. I'm just curious more than anything. So. Okay.
I have a question. I run into Mr. Otto yesterday, and he received this letter from you.
Yep.
And I see a CC Jim Weary on it. There's 5 supervisors, not just one. And shouldn't we be notified that a letter's going out?
Well, okay. I dictated the letter. I don't know that I dictated who it was supposed, I dictated it was supposed to go to him. I don't know how specific I got about who it goes to. I do know Jim was asking me specific questions after the meeting. He was asking me, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. He was asking me specific questions. He was there asking me questions. You weren't, he was. So I copied him on the letter, okay? So it was, if you guys, so that's why he got the letter. Now, let me get one thing kind of clear. And I don't mean this to sound snotty. But as county attorney, I may decide to communicate with somebody and not somebody else. Now, that's not the case in this case, other than Jim was in talking to me. He had questions. I answered his questions. So I said, hey, I think I'll tell Mr. Pitson this. And I'll let you know what I'm going to tell him, because he was there asking the questions, okay? If you had the questions, I would have given you the same letter. So it's no secret, right? It wasn't an effort to cut anybody out. And I guess I'm a little bit curious on why your nose gets so out of joint, because you didn't get copied in on a letter. So
Because he come to me and.
I suspect, let me finish. I suspect Mr. Otto or whoever came to you complaining about that letter. Now, if he wants to come to me and complain about that letter, then I will tell him, I'll say, dude, I'm not going to argue with you. I spelled it out there the way it is. And that's the way it is.
I guess if it's county business, we should all be in the loop though. I mean.
Well, that's not, there's nothing wrong, but that's not necessarily true, Mike. I'm not going to notify you every time I do something.
Well.
That's not your job to supervise me. It's not. So, you know, I'm not trying to be cantankerous here, but you sometimes like try to pick at somebody. Some people are better at taking it. I'm not.
Well, I'm not good at it either, so.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, Mike, I didn't start this conversation, did I?
Well, you sent the letter, so.
I did send the letter.
Yep.
So, there,
Yeah.
I just told you. So if it happens again, I might do it the same way. I don't know.
So there's homemade trailers out there, pickup box trailers, no license, they don't have a VIN, they're scrapped, correct?
Probably. I haven't been out there. I don't know what they look like.
Sure, I mean, they're in the way, he needs to get them out of there. Some of that homemade trailer stuff, so.
Yeah, I suppose that stuff you can probably just jump.
Yeah.
It's not that complicated. People try to make it complicated because there are certain procedures they have to follow that they don't want to follow. Right? That's the issue. Somebody gets mad because they say, I don't want to do this. Well, I'm telling you, you need to do it. So it's not that it's a complicated process as much as I advise them on what they need to do. They don't like it, so they try to find a way around it. And it's like, well, I'm not going to argue with you about this. So.
Well, he bid this job, he's gonna rent an excavator. He doesn't wanna rent an excavator when he said, oh, we gotta wait 10 days to see if this bus belongs to somebody. You know, then he's got an excavator sitting there that he's renting, that he's not using. So.
Well, to a certain extent, Mike, if a person's got experience in this kind of business, they ought to know how to plan for that kind of stuff.
Well, I think we should plan better doing the investigating on the vehicles and letting them go ahead and take them off, you know? I mean.
I guess you could have gone out there if you wanted to.
Well,
Why didn't you?
I didn't even know anything about it.
Well, maybe nobody else did either, Mike.
Oh,
I'm not gonna go out there and inspect the damn thing.
well, I'm just saying, it's.
So that's the way it works.
The reason of my question was I didn't want to get halfway or all through this process and then get a bill for having to pay for a bus. That's how that that's what I talked with him about. I didn't want to get all of a sudden, oh, you owe me $3,000 for this bus, because I didn't want that to happen.
Yeah,
So that's why
that
the
should have been
question
done
started.
ahead of time before we put the bids out.
Pardon me?
That should have happened before we put the bids out, then if we put bids out to remove the stuff and we accept a bid, then it should be good to go, but it's not, so.
I don't know, that's not start true, Mike, and if you know so much, then why didn't you do it?
I didn't know that, I'm not an
Well, then
attorney.
why are you criticizing everybody else?
Hey, whatever, I'm not an attorney.
No, you're not, so.
I don't know everything, but.
No, I would say that's true.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I think there's been a few times you've come in to talk to me about various things, and I haven't informed everybody else about it, so maybe sometime.
You could tell them, I don't.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Morning, Sheriff. Good morning. Just kind of on the coattails of that, I talked to Mr. Pitson this morning. He's clear on what he can take and not take in terms of vehicles and trailers
Good.
and all that stuff. The neighbor came over the other day when I was there on Friday. She said there's cars in that old dumpy shed that sits just to the west of the house. But she said they're buried in there. I told Matt this morning, when he gets to that point, he's gonna have to let us know so that we can, follow that process too. But the code is specific to motor vehicles, and so there's 5 there. county attorney's got that information, we'll move forward with that now.
Thank you, Sheriff.
So in terms of my report for fees collected, the amount is $2,711.42.
Do you have a motion to approve the sheriff's report?
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Any other discussion?
Roll call, Jim,
Aye.
Sydney,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Todd.
Let's see, I have the 2017 Chevy four-wheel drive truck is available to the board to do with whatever they want to with it. Four-door pickup, pretty nice shape yet, around 150,000-ish miles, give or take, 1,000 either way. But that's available now. Toolbox still in the bed, so it's sitting out back here if you want to take a peek at it, or if you want the keys to it, I've got them in my office, so just stop in, I get them to you. So whatever you guys want to do with that, and ladies, whatever you want to do with that, it's available whenever that time comes now, so.
I know Darren's pickup's looking pretty tough. He's been having a lot of problems with it, so.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be a place for it.
Yeah, I remember talking to Darren, ask him.
Yeah, he just had the reclines broke or something just the other day. Again, or, it's one thing after another, so.
Yeah, so anyway, I mean, this one's a good service. I think the tires on it are pretty good yet, getting through winter or whatever, whoever
Yeah.
ends up with it. I don't think I got anything else. I had a question posed to Rich. He's gonna check on that for me on some sidewalk issues in Little Cedar. It's not that they're in bad shape or good shape. It's who owns them and I just speak with a neighbor trying to work through, so. Other than that, unless you have stuff for me, that's all I have.
Did I see there's something different happen now in the Riceville incident?
Which incident and what's
The
different?
shooting, is that going a different way in the trial system? Or-
Yeah, so I'm not so sure it's going different, but we've asked the AG's office to answer some questions for us and review our case, and then we're gonna make a decision on it.
Okay,
Yep, and hopefully have that this week. Aaron and I talked about that this morning. Yep.
I will say that, people, and I have people contacting me at different times with different facts, and I have to kind of remind them that most of what you hear about, some of it may be true and most of it is not true. It's not something, I can't come out and paint a picture and say what happened. I have my thoughts on the case. I could do whatever I wanted to do at this point, but going forward, it would be a situation where I would request the Attorney General's help because they have a lot more resources, they have a bigger budget. They also have certain expertise in these things. So in my conversations with them, made sense. They're like, well, let us look at everything now. Because if you're just gonna get us involved later, let us be involved from the start. So that's where we're at.
And maybe the difference, Todd, you're referring to is we talked about the county grand jury, maybe reviewing the case. We've now made a decision that the AG's office can do that and not the county grand jury, so. Mhm.
I just had a few people ask me that, just what Aaron said, I don't know if they know.
They probably don't,
And-
that's not something that we share with the public,
Okay,
but obviously we did this morning, and that's okay. I mean, people have a right to know, and we'll tell them what we can tell them, and there's other things that we can't.
sure,
Yeah.
totally understand.
Yep, so. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Department head discussion.
Hi guys, just wanted to update you real quick on the CrowdStrike situation. I'm sure you've heard about that, taking all the computers down. Mitchell County did use that software. It's provided free by the state. So that wasn't all the computers. I received a call on Thursday, a little after midnight, that multiple dispatch centers were down in different counties as well, so that was strange. I drove in and it had the symptoms of what you would expect out of the CrowdStrike bug. There was a solution very quickly provided by CrowdStrike of how to fix the problem. It was a manual process and it took a long time. But I basically went through every computer and applied this fix manually. That's why it's so difficult at places like airports, because they have to do that to thousands of computers. But I went ahead and made sure, as of now, I can say definitively we did not lose any data, which is one of my biggest things in a situation like this. So this is, the situation is over and done with. They updated it right away. They came out and said that it was not malicious, it was not a cyber attack. So I'm comfortable with where that's at. Somebody just made a really big mistake there. So that's where we're at with it. Any questions?
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Lots of once in a lifetime things happening lately, so. All right, let me know if you do have any questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Rachel, on next week's agenda, can you put down, discussion and possible action on consideration of establishing a compensation board?
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other department head?
I just wanted to, if you haven't noticed, our Sidwell Portico site is not working, so that's our GIS search. We have been in contact with them since last week. They're working on it. It's not our end to fix, so we're hoping by the end of next week it's working again. Had a lot of calls.
Perfect. Any other department head?
I got a little, yesterday I went and got the mail for our supervisors and, it was plumb full. But, I put a file together with, the majority of it was things on the CO2 pipeline that people have sent to all supervisors. Rather than take the time in the meeting, I figured I'd put the file together and then we can just pass this around and, initial it or something once you read it. So, and we did get a letter to, everybody got one, I gave that to you. So just something to look at when you have time.
Okay, thank you.
All right. County engineer update.
Morning.
Morning.
Give you a really quick update. We don't have a lot to discuss this morning, but we are prepping for our salt storage rebuild. Right now, we've got our salt pad or our sand pad out, so we're gonna start moving some salt this week. We've got probably a little less than 2 weeks to get ready. They gave us a window of when they're gonna deliver our T-walls, and so I really wanna be ready for, I think they were saying August 5th or something like that, between August 5th and some other date, but I wanna be ready for them when they come, if they're not that first day. So we've got a little bit less than 2 weeks to get the salt moved, and then we gotta start removing the old back walls and things like that and start getting things prepped up for a base for those things. That's not part of their quote. So that's going on. And then we're continuing to do the rock run. We're blading when we can. Ironically, it's getting kind of dry out there. So we're trying to minimize how much dust we're creating and trying to blade roads so it's not gonna compact down. And we are continuing to mow. I mean, we're just trying to catch up with all the rain we've had this spring. It grew the grass pretty quick, and even when we mow it, it's still coming back. So that's pretty much all I've got for you this morning. Our patch is done over by St. Ansgar, and it's a little smoother than the old one. So
Does the mower you use now reach down in the ditch farther?
we bought that new one that has an arm on it.
Okay.
We've been chasing a few little hydraulic leaks and stuff. We've got to kind of run it again, and it can be utilized as a roadside mower. We don't want to use it specifically for that because it adds more. It's not specifically built for that. It's for reaching out and kind of cutting some things. But it can be. I know in the past when we were kind of running low, we've been kind of getting it tweaked. I think one of our mowers last week came in on a trailer because I don't know what happened to it. I didn't get a chance to ask whether it was a coolant problem or whatever, but it had to be brought in by trailer, so we're probably down one mower, and the other one is still on order yet, so.
Okay.
Once we get the other one, we'll have, with our mower, we'll have 4 mowers, so.
Okay.
So I've got.
Very good.
Thank you.
Good, thank you. Discussion and possible action on hiring an HR attorney. Last week, we put this on hold for a week. We get more information.
I got a hold of, Renee Von Bokren. I have a hard time with her last name. And, cause I just wonder what kind of services she provides. I gave you guys, and so she said she'd send a proposal, so I gave, this is on your desk. And, so this discusses what she's done. She's basically an HR individual, and she has some references in the back. So then after she sent, and it shows the amount that she would do as far as an annual fee, and that would cover any simple questions, complicated issues, and there would be no limit to it. So then she called, and so we started talking, and her comment was, basically, her recommendation is, we really don't have to do anything because she's our collective bargaining individual. She fields general questions from our department heads currently already for no charge. She doesn't charge to do that. And so far, it has not. Now, I know we had an incident going on before, and I wasn't aware of that she does this, but she would field general questions for no charge, and then if anything turned into a complicated issue, then her hourly rate would be $150 an hour. And then the next level is she would, if it turned into something where it ended up being legal and it was just a problem, it just had to be done legally, then she would recommend that we get a hold of Alders and then use Alders for their services. So what she called it is a triage of service where the first part's free, second part, if it's complicated, it's $150 an hour, and then the third part, you have to transfer to Alders. So she provides that.
Based on past experience, I think we need something like that in place.
And we kind of already do, it just,
Yeah, but we never used them. I guess we didn't know it.
I didn't know it either.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't aware of it.
So should we get a hold of Alders just to get on there so they know who we are?
I wouldn't really want to pay them any money, but
No, we don't have to pay them any money.
Yeah.
It's just to be
sure,
it's an on-call basis,
I think that'd be great, but
if needed, hopefully don't need them,
she kind of indicated a lot of times it never gets to that point, and most times it's just general questions, and things can get resolved with the general questions. So, yeah. I'm good at that.
Me too.
To get a hold of Alders, to get on their mailing list?
Yeah, just so they know that we're.
Yeah.
And on an as-needed basis. If needed, yeah.
Hopefully don't need.
Right, correct.
I was talking to Megan Teets at our HR County Social Service meeting, and she says with this Alders and Cooney, they even have, it's not free service, but you can talk to them with minor things and they don't charge.
Okay.
So there's an option there too, just to get out and let them know who we are.
She said she has a good working relationship with Alders. She utilizes them when it's needed, so.
Yeah, and they're aware of her too, because they mentioned her too.
We would have a motion to get on their mailing list for Alders and Cooney as needed.
So moved.
The motion is our second.
So I'll second.
Any other discussion?
Roll call, Mark,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Sydney.
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approve agreement to give contributions to Central Iowa Tourism Region. Again, we postponed that from last week to this week to get more information. And, you see the website, Anybody else?
Yeah, so what I did is I called them last week after our meeting and talked with Ann. And she would like to be here today, but she's on a plane as we speak, going on a week's vacation. And I kind of mentioned that we need to make a decision on this. So she sent me the books. I think there's about 4 or 5 different pages for Mitchell County, camping, hotel, golf courses, the river, water trails. It's a pretty nice magazine, and she put it on her calendar that she would definitely come in January or February for our budgets next year to speak to us on what they, what, in a little more detail. So I think it's $500 well spent talking to her, but I told her I was only one and that I would hand these flyers out and her booklets, and then we'd make a decision this week, so.
Where do they have these booklets at?
At rest areas around the interstates. I think she's got the welcoming centers on the edge of the states. And she actually said that she could send more. After we looked at our booklet, if we didn't take them home, we can set them up in Rachel's area where people can pick them up from her counter. And she said she could send more if we wanted to continue doing that, so.
Very good.
I'm just looking real quickly here as far as where to stay. They have Osage listed, and then where to camp. They have Osage, Cedar Bridge Park, they have St. Ansgar, Halverson Park, Statesville, Riverside Park. I mean, we're in here.
If you, sorry, Jim, but if you look at the camp, the entities that they got dump station showers, tent site, they give pretty good detail of what you can do. Golf courses. So what's the other one they had here? The hotels, name of the hotels. One thing I didn't really, and I'm not sure if it makes any difference, but most everything is labeled as the cities. It's not Mitchell County. And if that's just a question that I've jotted down, that if that makes a difference whether the city's named or Mitchell County, so.
Okay, very good. Do we have a motion to donate the $500 for resolution 1236-24?
I'll make that motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion?
We will just wanna maybe touch base with her that looking at where to ride, hike. At first, I don't see us in here, and we do have some trails in the county. It'd be nice if we were part of that too. It's not your job to let her know. I'm just saying it'd be nice if we had our trails represented too, so.
Yeah, and that's what she said, that when she comes, she'll ask question, like that kind of question. What else would you want to have in the magazine for Mitchell County and stuff, so.
Perfect.
Jim, do they have our water trails in?
I didn't
No,
see that.
that's where I'm wondering, and my question would be like if she could put in Mitchell County, because there are some counties in here to advertise our water trails. And so
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sydney.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Discussion and possible action on voiding a disbursement.
Yes, so there was a check or claim made for Law Enforcement Targets Incorporated for $317.14. It was paid with a credit card. Our credit card comes once a month. Well, that claim was also turned in like normal, so we wrote them a check but it had already been paid on the credit card. So they returned the check, which is great. However, because it was in last fiscal year, the board has to approve for Shannon to void it. We can't just do it in our office. Because of the fiscal year. So, yeah.
How would we make a motions for this particular item we're talking about
If you want
voiding?
to make a motion to void the disbursement for law enforcement targets.
So moved.
Motion is our second.
Second.
Second, any other discussion?
Roll call, Sydney.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye. Motion passes. Items of note, meetings attended.
Had a Metro Soil and Water Conservation District meeting. They were having trouble with four-wheelers in their Ramsey demonstration farm, is what they call it. And there was actually a bridge that was pulled in to make a crossing. They went out there, Kelly went out there. The weeds and the grass are so tall in that area, she couldn't really see if the bridge was there anymore, but as far as the trails, it looked like they've stopped using it. They were notified, it looks like they stopped. And I guess other business was, there's an Iowa Financial Incentive Program that pays for a lot of no-till, strip-till, windbreaks, that type of thing. So they approved a lot of those applications. I think that's all I had. Yes.
I had a supervisor legislative committee meeting last Thursday. If you did not get a card, I think you should receive a card to go to their annual ISACS conference in August. And they will actually go over some of these things. We talked about policy statements, your normal eminent domain, juvenile detention. We decided to take out because they're having an awful battle with that. So they want to try to get it revised and bring it back to the table next year. Medicaid funding, natural water resource quality, broadband. We took out open meetings because that just got resolved. So ongoing things that they're gonna talk about at the annual meeting, I suggest you guys go. Should be a good one.
I have nothing.
Had a county social service HR meeting, and they have two ladies retired, and they have a, every year they go to a different place for their outing. And they had it at Lake Hendricks this year, and they had a lot of good feedback from people that went there, didn't know about the place, and they plan on going back, so. And August 1st, they're giving the maps out for the relocating districts, so they should know then which way we go for social services. That's it.
I had a MCEDC meeting last night, went through the treasurer, financial reports, had discussion on the MCEDC website, updating it, maybe trying to get a little more attractive. We had 2 CLP applications that we approved, which they will be coming to our tables in the next week. And that was it, but I want to go back to the tourists. I just remembered that. So she had talked about a lot of counties want to sign, it's not a 28E agreement, but you know, like the contracts that we've been, and so she did send one that they usually put together, and one of the number 2 is what promote Mitchell County's tourism opportunities in response to requests for information received in the regional office. So I'm gonna make copies of this, I'll give each one of you. And so if we wanna update anything that, just like I was talking about, putting in the magazine, the water trails, whatever, we can make notes on this for when they do come in January or February, so,
Very good.
and then that's it.
Public comments, any public comments? Nothing? We'll adjourn the meeting at 9:05. Thank you.